Hey, everybody, it's Dan. Well, back in Japan, but not for long, flying back out in like 7 hours. Well, just flew in. I just flew in from Georgia. Not Georgia, the one with all the meat and cheese that they make eat and the wine, and great country. And had a really productive several days there, even though it's a 17-hour one-way trip from Georgia to Japan. Not the most comfortable 17 hours you can spend in your life, but the world is big and you need to get out there, and I guess that's my job. So the updates. Well, I'm just going to stick around for a little bit because, like I said, I have to get back out on the road, actually going to the U.S. this time and Mexico. And so, as you can see, sometimes most of the times I try to kind of dress a little bit up, kind of nice and presentable for the community. Today, guys, I got my Vitalik gear on. Hope you don't mind. Do you guys mind? I mean, I just started talking. This is the jet lag working on me, but I totally forgot. We got Joe and we got Alex with us today. So say hi to everybody, Joe and Alex.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
Hello, everyone. My pleasure to be here again.
Yeah, back when Ergo was small, we used to have basically like a music weekend where we had metal Sundays where people that were into Metallica and other it's more metal genre. We would have kind of like a day of posting different metal bands from around the world, Dan. So you're good.
Yeah, I guess mostly it was about Saturday night in Poland, actually, because usually it was done by Martin MX during Saturdays evenings.
Yeah, this is actually this is a Master of Puppets one. See, it even has the album art on it. And so this one is I also have one that's Damage Incorporated and another one from Ride the Lightning, all of which are actually vintage. Those are, well, not like super vintage from the 80s, but they are from the 90s. So all of these t-shirts are actually from the 90s. In fact, I had somebody just offer me money for my Damage Incorporated t-shirt that I was wearing the other day. It was really odd. So because he's like, yeah, I'll give you money for that. Like, well, I'm wearing it though.
That's the real life.
Would be inappropriate. Like that would be inappropriate for the women and children. Oh, here's Leo. Say hi to Leo, everybody. See, this cat just can't have one AMA without me. Here he is, as always. Anyway, all right, Leo. Let's not interrupt this wonderful conversation. All right, guys. Well, let's get to the updates. So from my end, like I said, a really, really interesting conference in Georgia. So what was going on was the Central Bank of Georgia was hosting a digital innovation and CBDC conference. So basically what they're doing is they're, along with other organizations in the region, with the IMF, not the Impossible Mission Force, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, USA Georgia, as well as a few other local institutions that were involved. They're exploring digital monetary systems and digital innovation and CBDCs, and so they're aware of the risks of CBDCs as far as, because I know a lot of the community is kind of anti-CBDC, and it's a valid concern. And this is actually why I really like what they're doing, is because they understand the concern of, CBDCs, if not done right, can be used for not very good things. So could make things worse. So that was the reason for this conference. They were actually speaking to several different blockchains and industry experts, and they were getting everybody, getting input from everybody about how to make it more transparent, more decentralized, less of a tool of oppression that it could easily become if deployed incorrectly or deployed in a certain way. And so, yes, I was there representing the EUTXO gang, Cardano and Ergo. Some very interesting opportunities there for Ergo that I was developing. And yeah, as I progress with these, I will let you know which ones came to fruition. But some very, very interesting verticals over there to do with payments, to do with multi-signature wallets, maybe some several types of identity solutions. Very, like I said, very interesting conference. I'm really glad that a central bank is actually putting on this kind of conference, because it shows that they're interested in exploring the right way to do things. And I think that it's important for us to participate in those types of discussions, and as a community to be able to kind of set the terms of how these things are done instead of just being done to us. And technology is being used in a oppressive way, I guess you could say, if nothing else. And like I said, I was very vocal about like, for example, weaponization of money. I am very, very against that. And as we all know, that CBDCs and other digital monies can be used as something where you can set a monetary policy, can be used to weaponize, in a way, currencies. And that's something that I'm looking to make sure that is avoided when these systems are built, as well as other concerns. So yeah, a very interesting conference, very informative, and I'm glad I went, even though it was really, really far. So the next on the list is exchange integrations. Still going. I think we're near the finish line, right, Joe? Somewhere around it.
Last I heard, they are about 80% finished. And so the goal at the current time is to have it integrated this month. I can push their engineers. Hopefully we don't run into anything that needs to be rebuilt or patched. But looks like the majority of the lift has been done. So I'm hoping that we see a new listing before the end of May.
Yeah, that would be really, really nice. And once we wrap this particular exchange, there are also some really, really nice exchanges on horizon for us that I'm going to be that we're already starting conversations with, and hopefully we'll be integrating once we're done with this particular integration. Again, something that you guys will be really happy about, as well as the one that's being integrated with right now, a very prominent exchange, a tier one. Plus, there is also going to be marketing around it. There's going to be a lot of ways where people get to know Ergo that didn't know Ergo before. So again, bringing new people into the ecosystem, which is what we want. So the next on my list of old people notes that I have on my screen right now, because I can't really remember them very well, is our education initiatives. So I have been, it's slowly but progressively pushing through our education initiatives, the ones that I've been talking about with the university that we've been talking with. I'm hoping that this month we will get some new traction on it. Some of these initiatives have to be brought in front of the committee, the university committee, for approval. I don't think there's going to be a problem with approval. It's just a matter of bringing it to the committee, getting approval to move forward further so that we can utilize university sources. And again, education is very important, as we all know, and it is a way to bring new people into the ecosystem, and it is a way to strengthen the ecosystem. So again, I believe this is just as important of an effort as getting us listed on exchanges. I mean, that's the way I see it, and I'm sure that Joe and Alex will agree. And so last but not least, so I guess what? The games are upon us, right, Joe? The hack.
The ErgoHack is coming up. Alex and I actually tried to do a video call yesterday. The video call on my end was a little bit spotty, but we have a nice podcast coming out now.
All right, and also it was a community chat yesterday over the Telegram, and it was focused on ErgoHack and was very successful also. So yeah, it seems the community is buzzing about the ErgoHack.
Yeah, nice. So let the erg be ever in your favor. Is that how it goes?
Something like that.
Yeah, so something like that. And hey, who knows? Maybe Joe and I will surprise you with a little bit extra incentive. Not promising anything, but we'll see how it goes, right, Joe?
Yeah, I always like to try to support projects. But if you're out there, you build interesting solutions, you go open source, or I see something that, let's just say, piques my interest, I'm always happy to support the ecosystem.
Yes. Open your source to Joe. Let him see within your heart, the heart of your project.
Way to do it.
Sounded a little creepy. Yeah. Sorry, I made it sound a little creepy, Joe. I know that you didn't mean to make it creepy, but I made it creepy. My fault. All right. Well, that's about it for me, guys. And like I said, unfortunately, I have to get running. Need to get packing, or else my wife is going to be very, very mad at me. So this is Dan Friedman signing off early, but I will be back next week for more updates. And you stay classy, Ergo community.
Have a luck, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
All right. You want to get into the questions, Alex?
Yeah, so in regards with updates, so yeah, it was a very good community chat yesterday, and so based on that, we updated example topics for the ErgoHack you can pick from, but yeah, also please feel free to come up with any idea. Which is related to the hackathon topic, but yeah, the hackathon topic is the broadest one possible, I believe. So probably everything cryptocurrency related actually could be fit there.
Yeah, I agree. DeFi is definitely going to be broad in terms of how it can be applied. So those of you out there with ideas, feel free to contribute. I'm sure the developer community is happy to support you, talk with you. The community usually does a really great job in terms of team forming and collaboration. So I'm excited to see it kick off.
All right. Yeah, so it seems, yeah, a lot of interest, and yeah, I'm very excited to see this in action. And yeah, also it will be the first hackathon in form of a marathon, right? So then, yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, so if you're willing to go the distance, sign up.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to answer the questions.
Yeah, let's get to the questions. All right. First question is a question for you, Alex. Have you ever discussed a crypto-related problem with Vitalik, given you are both English-speaking Russians?
Yeah, so we had some conversations around some conferences. So it was maybe, yeah, so it was FC 17 around Malta. And yeah, there was some summer school, or maybe winter school, I've forgotten, in Shanghai, China. And yeah, so back in FC 17, so we presented a paper on using authenticated dictionaries for partially stateless clients, as it's called in the Ethereum community. And we've shown that our proofs are like 4 times less than Ethereum's. And Vitalik was in the room, and he was asked about, why is this? Yeah, I mean, there are some blunders they made, right, in regards with inefficient encoding and so on. That's the main reason of inefficiency there. But also we had to talk about the model, because it's not quite clear whether the data structure is in a two-party model. So please refer to the paper, our paper, for details. They don't have any paper on that, and it's not quite clear then how useful the data structure can be. Maybe it's on the same level of usefulness, but who knows? So there are some problems in Ethereum community. They're not quite following the widely accepted terms, terminology, right? They're inventing some things on their own, sometimes not understandable from outside, and maybe not understandable from inside also, if you are thinking a lot about it. In short, we had some conversations.
All right, let's go to the next question. The question is from Ahmed. He said, when will wallet supports address with pre-EIP3 derivation? I created my Ergo address back then from a full node.
Oh, pre-EIP3 derivation. So I believe currently you need to run the node with use pre-EIP derivation flag to be set to true. So there was one wallet supported that told him the Magnum wallet, but it's not around. Maybe you can use some tutorial for restoring funds from Magnum Wallet, which can be found on the Ergo forum, but I'm not sure. The simplest way maybe is to use the node with use pre-EIP3 derivation flag set to true.
All right. Does the mixer still support that?
They have import from Magnum wallets, and there was also one wallet, also abandoned at the moment, but maybe still working, which did some tutorial also. And the mixer had some importing for Magnum wallets.
Yeah, I think at some point in the past I'd helped the user restore that via the mixer. I think there is some information on Ergo forum in terms of how to do that, and we also have the support channel in Telegram if you want some additional assistance. So
that's working if you was on Magnum wallet. So if you was on the nodes before the version 3.3.4, then better to use that flag. And then everything should be fine. Otherwise, please do a GitHub issue. There were some requests before, and it seems everything is fine with that.
All right, let's go to the next question then. From Hosky Dex. How can we get the Ergo blockchain to go faster? Can it scale? This week, by the Neta drop, the whole blockchain clogged.
Blockchain was okay. So there was a problem with Explorer. yeah, I'm not quite sure what can be done on Explorer side. I guess a lot of optimizations are needed there. And hard to say what created such a lot on the Explorer. So I don't really know whether it was some kind of intentional dose, right? Or maybe unintentional dose from improperly designed application, and so on, right? So, well, on Explorer side, definitely more caching is needed, right, to handle such events. And so on. But yeah, so from the blockchain, everything was good. So yeah, I watched over, and yeah, usually mempool got empty after peak usage pretty quickly. So within a few blocks. Yeah, in regards with improving scalability, right? So I believe improving throughput in the first place. So yeah, a lot of things we are doing. Recently there was a community chat on that, on scalability and throughput. Yeah, in short, a lot of improvements will be in the protocol and the reference client done in coming months.
Yep. So those of you that were out there, it wasn't an actual blockchain issue. It was supporting infrastructure that kind of was getting, I think, overcalled, slowed down. But in terms of blocks and settlement, that was never really affected. It was just when you run a light wallet, you are going to rely on some infrastructure to make calls to the blockchain. And to some degree, that's why full node is always a better option. So if you're going to be on a highly congested NFT drop where you have, the potential for race conditions and that type of scenario, it's generally better to run a full node and potentially pay a little extra to incentivize miners to include your transaction in the block.
Right, but yeah, also I believe patterns of how the apps working with Explorer must be reworked, right? So currently they're just exploiting Explorer in most aggressive way sometimes. Then yeah, if many wallets and applications are doing that, then yeah, that means big problems, right, for Explorer. Yeah, there are some things we are doing. For example, the next node update will get some API methods requested by unknown real to make auction house less dependent on the Explorer, right? And yeah, so as far as I know, the Explorer team is also working on some lightweight alternative to Explorer. So maybe wallet developers can install their own instances for their purposes. Yeah, the ErgoDex is going to run its own instance of the Explorer, as far as I know, after this Aneta event, and so on. So yeah, a lot of measures can be done, actually.
All right, let's go to the next question. Any news about Ergo wallet and hardware wallet integration like Ledger? I can take that one. So the wallet right now is in a beta test. That's particularly with the Nano S model, and the reason why is you need to upload the software directly to it in order to participate in the beta test. It's important to understand that. So that's been ongoing. So far, the pay to script upgrade, which is part of the reason why this was delayed, has been going pretty well. We've been able to sign transactions on dApps through Ledger. That is going to be pushed to Ledger Live, and once that is integrated into Ledger Live, it will support all models and all environments. So that's progressing pretty well. Let's go to the next question. It's from James. Any possibility Ergo wallet will ever support Bitcoin and or ADA? I actually do know that the Nautilus team has been looking into the potential to moving into a multi-chain wallet setup. Now, in terms of their development path, roadmap, etc., I have no idea when that's going to actually be addressed, but I do know that that's something that wallets are looking into in anticipation for Rosen, meaning hopefully in at some point in the future when Ergo and Rosen Bridge is live, it opens the potential to have a really seamless user environment where you can transfer tokens cross-chain from within the same UI. We'll see where that progresses long term. I don't think that's something that we'll see today or tomorrow, but we could see it by the end of the year. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe more multi-chain wallets will support Ergo in opposite.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That's more likely, I guess. So for now, we have this wallet via wallet, right? And probably there will be more, but usually multi-chain wallets do not support some popular features even, right? Like custom tokens.
Yeah, so be careful with via wallet.
Yeah, that was the case with Magnum, and yeah, the same is about via wallet.
Yeah, that can burn some tokens. So if you ever use via wallet, only use ERG. It's useful for miners. If you're in the community and you accidentally transfer some other tokens in the via wallet, you may never see them again. So be careful. Let's go to the next question. Thoughts on games being built on Ergo? Have you had a chance, Alex, to see the TCG Blitz video that came out this week?
The video, not yet. So I have it in my queue.
Awesome. Well, I had the ability to watch it yesterday. I was pretty happy with what I saw. You know, probably the thing that stuck out the most to me is that the developers on this project are not going to do any type of pre-sale until they have some sort of playable alpha version, which in my mind just demonstrates a lot of integrity. There's a lot of game stuff in the blockchain space that, you know, people raise funds without any, you know, clear commitment or let's say even path to a product or, you know, an alpha version where people can actually play around. So I took a look at the video. I thought he did a great job in terms of laying out his path, being realistic about expectations and talking about, you know, what needs to work, you know, and then looking at kind of the risks and the assumptions of the project. So I was really happy just to see how that was laid out. I thought it was very well done. And, you know, most importantly, it seems like the team and low-key nerd has some passion, which, you know, I think that's a great starting point. Let's go to the next question. Hello. On Friday the 13th, many miners will be moving their hash rate off of Ethereum to test other networks. How do you think Ergo will cope with a sudden influx of miners? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, so Son of Attack, maybe some other guys, I don't really know. So they announced that will be some testing day on May 13th to move hash power from Ethereum to other cryptocurrencies for 1 day and see how it goes. So yeah, I don't know how successful will it be, and how much hash rate will be directed to the Ergo network in particular. So yeah, let's see. It will be interesting.
Yeah, I joined that forum and dropped the GPU setting document that the mining community had put together, which gives a pretty extensive list of, GPU models and miners and overclocks and fan settings and wattage. And I think it's kind of interesting, it's certainly going to be something to watch how the miners react to, let's just call it kind of like an abusive relationship, Ethereum's kind of abandoning them, after years of, helping them build DeFi and helping them kind of build out the ecosystem. And I certainly think that there are better homes out there where, miners will just be taken care of in a better way. So I'm excited to see how it happens. I think that if that's the case, I'll hop onto that Discord and encourage them to not mine Nanopool. If they want to build a long-term, let's say, relationship in ecosystems, I think that, they need to have more of a long-term mindset. Sometimes miners, and it's understandable, they have a business to run. They always want to mine what is the most profitable. Now, on the flip side of that, it's kind of like if you were to trade and you always bought, the most profitable thing. Who knows? Maybe there's more interesting, let's say, investment strategies in terms of where to point your hash rate. But I'm certainly happy to support that and happy to see people hop on Ergo. We'll see. Maybe the block time will speed up for a little bit. I do know that if you're going to really get a more accurate assessment of how Ergo adjusts, you probably need to mine for a longer period of time than 24 hours. So hopefully we'll have that discussion on their Discord, and I'm excited to see miners come. Talking about miners, there was a pretty interesting video that came out this week as well from Ergo Prism and GuapSwap, where they were talking about how you can mine using the proxy contract and what that could look like in the future, which is quite fascinating. Especially when you get into the aspects of mining potentially multiple assets via swap, and mining into liquidity pools. It really opens up kind of the first step towards miners taking a bigger role in DeFi in the Ergo ecosystem. And it's exciting to see.
Yeah. And so potentially, I think, DeFi, the DeFi space, right? Let's say, should provide tools for miners, right? Maybe even in the first place, right? Because they're natural first users of everything in the space.
And proof of work, in my opinion, offers a better organic path to DeFi, right? Because there's no preset base rate. So if I'm on a proof of stake chain that I automatically have a 5% return or a 6% return just by staking, that kind of sets the floor, where if you're trying to create a new framework that is based on organic growth and you automatically need to come in offering a better return than that base rate, otherwise no one's going to ever participate, it kind of closes the market to let's say slower organic type of growth. If I were to say, okay, well, you can do nothing and make 4%, 5%, 6%, or you can take on some potential risk and make 3%, 4%, nobody's ever going to do that. So then you automatically have to come in at some rate of return that, in the real world is hard to achieve, especially right now with, I think in the bank, I might be earning like 0.25% or something just pathetic. So I do think long-term proof of work, because there is no preset base rate by the protocol, kind of opens the door to longer-term organic DeFi versus having to compete with that protocol base rate.
That's actually a very interesting point. I never thought about it. Yeah, so from the other side, well, if you are participating in DeFi with higher interest rate in proof of stake ecosystem, then yeah, you are basically not supporting the network security, right? We are staking.
Yeah, that's an interesting trade-off. It's like if you're below that base rate, it makes no sense to have DeFi because the risk profile is interesting. And then if you're above it, you're suddenly not contributing to security because there's an incentive to not stake. So that's an interesting long-term question. That'll probably piss off a lot of people that even talk about that, but it's interesting to see how is that going to play out. If you look at DeFi on like Ethereum, with DAI, I do think that miners, because they have cost of entry, and if they're not profitable, DeFi makes a lot of sense. How can I, overcome, that loss and make up for, my real world costs? So personally, I think proof of work has always made more sense for DeFi. That's an offensive thing to say in this industry, but it's okay. I'm not against proof of stake. It's just a little bit more complex because you have that base rate in effect.
All right. Yeah, and well, proof of work mining is DeFi per se. So there is a paper by Professor Haviv Zahar from Hebrew University. Well, Aviv and his students, actually. So the paper is stating that actually buying ASICs to mine Bitcoin can be comparable with buying options, right? And yeah, so there is some pretty simple argumentation in the paper, so you can just read a couple of papers from it, a couple of pages from the paper. So then, yeah, then well, as a consequence, it's well more profitable to mine well Bitcoin as well as other cryptocurrencies if well they have higher volatility, right? So there is some result about option pricing here. A very basic one, I believe. So yeah, if we have this even in the very basic level, right? Then yeah, on top levels, so it's also natural to have DeFi everywhere.
Yeah. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah. So well, actually, this conundrum about DeFi and proof of stake. Yeah, this sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea how it's going to play out. It's just kind of my observation. Like, you can't have an organic growth pattern that's lower than the protocol rate because it makes no sense economically. And then if you surpass that and you incentivize users to not provide security, that's another potential problem to look at. So, across multiple protocols, I'm sure we may see multiple, potential solutions for that. But, being that every proof of stake network has its own kind of unique security consensus and things to pay attention to and ways of participating in DeFi, I have no idea long term how that's going to play out project to project to project to project. But to me, that seems like a big potential issue to look at.
Right, indeed.
All right, let's go to the next question. Hello, I would like to hear your opinion about the refundable IDO we did in Comet.
Oh, so I don't know. I actually found some contract and saved it. So hopefully can review it during the weekend. Hopefully I will find some time to review that refundable ICO contract. That's what I can say at the moment. In case of reviewing, maybe we'll update our the forum. Let's see. Hopefully.
Now there you go. You're gonna get audited, comment. I hope you did good work. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah, hopefully I will find time for that.
Could you please elaborate on the mysterious layer 0, Alex? What it does Ergo do it well? And this is an area that is why is this an area that is overlooked by other blockchains?
Yeah, so it's actually not mysterious. So it's peer-to-peer network, right? So how peers in the network are exchanging messages, right? And yeah, actually a lot of improvements can be done here. So currently, the implementation is done in a pretty naive way. But yeah, the same can be said about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum tried to do some innovations here, but yeah, not very successful ones, I need to say. Yeah, a lot of improvements possible. Currently, I'm even studying some wallpapers about that. So maybe I can share somewhere.
Yep. So the layer 0 is essentially, you could look at it as hardware internet, the P2P connection that is underlying the actual consensus aspect of the blockchain.
Right, and well, dependless on consensus, right? This usually the bottleneck, right? So for both proof of work and proof of stake. So after all, well, it's a bottleneck, right?
Sure.
So the bandwidth and yeah, also the processing of transactions. So you cannot raise TPS with just modifying consensus protocol, basically, after a certain threshold. Then, yeah, as I said before, it's not quite clear why Ethereum is switching from proof of work to proof of stake, right? So, well, it's basically the same TPS if we are not taking sharding into account, right? And sharding is coming with totally different security assumptions, probably. But first, they need to show in clear what they're actually doing. So I'm not sure it's there, right? So before it wasn't there.
I have no idea.
Right, and then yeah, so dependless on proof of work, proof of stake. So yeah, it's about the same peer-to-peer network where you have bottleneck, right? And yeah, so in case of Ethereum, there is no progress there since 2017, right, in the Geth client. And yeah, other clients abandoned at the moment. So there are some forks of Geth as far as I know, but other clients, well, essentially that I suppose.
All right, let's go to the next question. What are your thoughts on ZDAG technology, a layered approach to combine proof of work and DAG? I believe Syscoin uses it, and it allows for increased security through proof of work and scalability through DAG.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about security and yeah, about throughput. So I don't believe that you can increase it via using DAG over the chain, right? Because after all, it's about the same bottleneck, right, in layer 0, as I said before. With proof of work, you can do some modifications, right? We're also considering actually since 2017, right? And well, currently Cardano guys, for example, are also doing similar things with splitting consensus and transaction blocks, right? So in case of proof of work, there are proposals like Bitcoin NG, so well, there are some others. So the idea is well to split consensus from transactions propagation, right? And then you basically have bottleneck at layer 0, right? And then yeah, how DAG will help you. So if it's about potentially propagating the same transactions, right? Then so in competing blocks, then yeah, you need to just spend more processing resources, right? So broadcasting more data. So actually, it could be even worse in regards with TPS.
All right, let's go to the next question. For you, Alex, when will we start building ZK rollups on Ergo? How can we fund this infrastructure?
Oh, I don't know. So there should be some use case, I believe, right, in the first place. So as far as I know, well, ErgoDex guys are going to do something different, but yeah, I need to get updates from them. And yeah, so for others, I don't know what are they doing. So yeah, without use cases, those rollups, right, not quite useful. And yeah, in case of Ergo, so I believe applications are closer to rollups, right? So in case of Ergo, usually you are storing data on chain, right, along with some simple conditions, but other things you are doing off chain, right, which are not needed on chain, right? So actually, Ergo already kind of enforcing application developers to minimize on chain bloat. But yeah, also we need to consider that this is UTXO, right? So yeah, there are some differences from Ethereum, for example. Yeah, also maybe yeah. So someday we need to provide some detailed comparison in some understandable form. Yeah. And we need to think how to get this done.
Yeah, you know, ZK rollups, that's some complex cryptography. And then you also have the implementation that needs to be done right. That's a little bit more complicated than I think a lot of people make it, you know?
Yeah. So I also don't know about composability, right? So if one application is running on one rollup, so ZK, another on some optimistic rollup, and a third application is on top of Plasma or whatever, right? Then how can they call each other? Well, on top of Ethereum blockchain. So. I don't know how that's solved, if solved even.
No, I guess it's something that we need to continually look at.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question. Have you gentlemen seen the first episode of the Ergo series created by Life of IFA? Brilliant marketing opportunity with the talent that fella has. I haven't. I'll be honest. Somebody dropped that in one of the social channels and tagged me, and I will.
Yeah, the same. Would be happy.
Sometimes the ecosystem's growing fast enough that things get away from me. It's I can't track everything, you know, and that's a wonderful thing. It's a part of why I've really encouraged the community to start covering and you know, passing along information. Sometimes I learn things from the community versus, you know, being the guy that's up here talking about like the developer update and what's happening, which is great to see.
Yeah, the same. So sometimes I don't quite know what's happening here and there. So yeah, it's growing fast indeed. So I can't catch up with everything.
All right, let's go to the next question. Is Yoroi browser wallet still safe?
I guess so. At least, if your mnemonic is stored, then it's safe. So yeah, it seems to be slow, right? So I'm still using Yoroi, as well as not to lose the nodes, right? And yeah, some other wallets. So yeah, it's the slowest one probably. Right, but yeah, so yesterday even I made a transaction with it, and yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. Joe and Alex, thoughts on the Luna Foundation buying BTC? Would the Ergo Foundation ever consider this? What are the pros, cons of doing this? Well, for number one, the Ergo Foundation is not an investment fund, right? In terms of trying to create for-profit incentives and trying to essentially give, let's say, some validation or prove the value of a lot of what we build. So we're totally different intent. The Ergo Foundation long term, number one, we have like a short-term track, right, where we have marketing and market adoption that is useful and that's needed to bootstrap the ecosystem. But longer term, marketing probably needs to go to projects that build on top of Ergo. And so then what is left for the Ergo Foundation to do in terms of its purpose is education and core development. I think that that's probably a way to give validity to their stable coin protocol, which, it doesn't seem so decentralized to me, but it is what it is. What's your thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, I agree. So we already see some projects doing marketing pretty successfully, such as ErgoPad, ErgoDex. Even Anon Real now has some Twitter channel function, house, and so on. Right. So yeah, the goal of Ergo Foundation is to bootstrap the Ergo development and then to dissolve in the most ecological way, right, without being kind of cannibalizing centralized entity, right, in the ecosystem. So yeah, I don't know much about the Luna Foundation actually. So why is it buying BTC and not Luna? So what is this about? So why they're buying some digitalist like Bitcoin for what purpose?
I think to build their treasury. But again, it doesn't sound so decentralized to me.
Oh,
you have
so Luna Foundation
guy.
is behind this Terra stablecoin, right?
I think so.
Oh, so I believe they're just securing the stablecoin via market making, right?
Yeah, and who knows? Did anybody vote for that, or was it one guy? And if it's one guy that's controlling the treasury of the decentralized stablecoin, doesn't quite sound so decentralized to me, but maybe that's just me.
Oh, yeah, so let's hope they're using multi-sig at least. So there was some foundation which lost millions from its treasury just because smartphone of the guy was hacked. I forgotten what was that. Maybe Zen or something. Maybe Zalcor, so something like that. I've even forgotten. So yeah, I mean, if you are doing some foundations, so do multi-sig wallets at least, right? So yeah, in case of Ergo, so the treasury is protected by multi-sig signs day one. And yeah, I hope that Luna is also doing considerably well security practice. But yeah, also so if it's algorithmic stable coin, right, and it's also secured by external market making, maybe that's not bad for investors, but also not very decentralized, right? All right, let's see.
It's a weird trade-off in that situation. I mean, I can see the benefit of having it secured by market making, but then if it's just one entity, and I know there was a lot of exchange money in that initial ICO, so it's kind of it's a weird build. Let's just say that it's a weird build.
Yeah, and hopefully that market maker will not play against users ever, right? So.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I'm in the space for a long time, and yeah, I witnessed stuff like that also. So yeah. All right.
Let's get to the next question.
Yeah.
Do you think Bitcoin's hash rate will be propped up by governments or other entities after there is no longer a financial incentive for miners to secure the chain? And is that sustainable?
Oh, that's interesting question. So actually, governments already done a lot, right, to cap the hash rate. But yeah, it's growing still. So let's see. So maybe
that's a fascinating question. I have to agree. I don't know. I mean, if certainly if that becomes like a core asset that they hold, or a vector of monetary transmission that they support, it does make some sense for them to mine. But then are you subsidizing that at a loss, right? And that's one thing that governments tend to do very well, is subsidize things that don't make economic sense at a loss, and then it creates distortions in the economy. And I don't know if it solves more problems than it makes. So let's see. Let's go to the next question. How are Oracle V2 solutions coming along?
Yeah, so there was a note from Greenhead. So he's working on backend. Well, actually, there is backend just right there. So the architecture for the Oracle pool is follow. So we have some contracts, right? And then some software which is off-chain part, like extracting data from outside, doing something with this data, and then yeah, also watching our the contracts, right, and submitting transactions and so on. So this software, the Oracle Pulse backend, needs to be rewritten to some degree with Oracle Pulse 2.0. And yeah, as far as I know, so this work is partly done, and for remaining parts, so the Greenhead is creating issues for the upcoming ErgoHack, and yeah, those issues will be with bounties attached. So hopefully, yeah, will be done during the ErgoHack.
Yeah, that's one thing that we're going to be shifting around with the ErgoHack, is we're going to make them a little bit longer term. And we're also going to be adding bounties to different aspects of core infrastructure that if you're interested in coming in, looking and learning about Ergo, you have an incentive to do so. So I'm pretty excited to see the talent that brings to the table. We have a really strong developer community, and I'm always happy watching what they're building. Do you want to take one more question, Alex?
All right, the last one.
All right, last question. Let's go for it. remember to press the like button. That's not really a question, but oh, there we go. Will you guys be making documentation on how to make connectors for the new oracles?
New oracles. Yeah, good question. So actually, after yesterday's chat, so we added some topics on doing tutorials. So there was requests for producing a tutorial on how to add support for DApp connector, right? For DApp. And yeah, so for Oracle pool, so I believe the question is about how to run a new pool, right, with new data, maybe provide data not on the USD, ERG to USD price, right, but maybe gold price or euro price, right, Chinese yuan, and so on. Yeah, that would be good to cover, and maybe to run more pools even, right, during the ErgoHack. So there is a possible topic.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it would be great to see some open standard develop around oracles. Now, I do know that Augie, who's asking this question, has some secret idea that he hasn't shared with anybody. And what my recommendation at this point would be talk to Green Hat.
Yeah, so there is some documentation for Oracle Pulse version 1, right? But yeah, so currently it will be more or less the same, but yeah, we need actually to show how to well, tweak data providing also, right? So there are two components there, right? So one which is working with on-chain and off-chain, and another is about extracting data, right, and sending it to the first component. So yeah, we need to show where to modify, right, the second component to get other piece of data than ERG to USD price.
All right. Well, that is going to wrap up this AMA. I certainly enjoyed the questions. Thanks for joining, Alex. It's always nice to have you on these.
My pleasure. So yeah, not sure about next time. Let's see.
Let's see.
But yeah, see you our the hackathon hopefully. So yeah, please join.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye everyone. Have a good day.